All right, guys, real quick, I want to go over our sponsors. First up, Healthy Made Easy by Mitchell Thompson. Phenomenal book, making nutrition and a healthier lifestyle, very simplified. Go check it out at Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Also, he has a gym that's open, Combat Cardio KC. They go hand in hand. If you're trying to meet fitness goals, trying to have fun workouts, that's the place to be. They'll get you right over there. Next up, Yup Strength. Love the smelling salts. Love the pre-workout. Best tasting pre-workout I've ever had. The smelling salts are a hit with everybody. Really does wonders for you during the middle of a hard set. Love what he's doing over there, John. Doing a great job. Our last one, Jit Head Athletics. Jeremy, he's doing a great job with that company. Rash guards are fun, good material. They're doing cool stuff over there. All the TBAP merch is over there. If you guys want to help support the show, I greatly appreciate it. We got rash guards, t-shirts, head on over there. It really helps get the name out. So yeah, thanks again to all our sponsors. Thank you to everyone who watches and listens to the show. Please, if you could, like, share, subscribe. It really helps out. And yeah, we'll get back to the show.
Decided to do seasons so that way after each season I wanted to give myself like a month so I can kind of have a break to process and kind of reflect on what I did that season and then start season 2. So each time, and I'm someone who is like constantly always learning and growing too. So I feel like I'm just changing and constantly evolving as a person.
Right.
So I felt like it was a good way for me, like each season I kind of bring a new energy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of like revamp too during that time and like come up with new ideas and maybe, because you don't have to stay one way. That's like the beauty with podcasts. You can go any direction you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because as human beings, like, we're never the same, right? Like, I feel like every 5 years, I'm like a little bit different. You know?
Yeah. I feel like for me, I'm literally
hobbies,
like, every couple months, I'm like, I'm always changing. And that's like who I am as a person. And I think when I was first coming up with my podcast idea, I was trying to think of like my colors and my logo and all of that. Yeah. And I like couldn't like narrow down on like the exact colors I wanted and all of that. But then I was like, you know what? Like, what if, like, I don't have to stick with the same color scheme? Like, I could do it for a season, and then next season, I can change up, like, how I want my podcast to look and feel.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you ever get worried that sometimes you want to keep it the same so they have that familiarity?
Yeah.
That's the one thing I battle it with. But then sometimes I see podcasts, and they, every couple of years, they'll change their logos and theme songs and all sorts of stuff. So I think you could go either way. I think if you have a following, you have a following no matter what.
Right, yeah. And I think I found like what makes me too. And I feel like pink is definitely something that's probably always going to be like part of my color. Yeah. But like first season, it was like pink and red. And then this new season has been like pink and green. So little changes like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. When did you start that? When did you start the podcast?
The podcast? Yeah. I started the beginning of this year, actually.
Oh,
so
really?
January 11th, 111. That was like the first episode.
How's it been so far?
It's been good.
So it's definitely a grind, I guess you can say. The corny word of the grind.
It's so fun though.
It is fun.
Because I feel like when I do it, even though it's such a grind, like I have days where I'm like, oh God, I have to edit. I have to do this. You know, I need to get another episode out. But every time that I actually put in that work and do it, I'm like, at the end, I feel so good.
Oh yeah. It's satisfying.
Yeah. And I just
when it releases, it's like, you feel good. You're like, okay, like a piece of my art is out there and like there's going to be people that enjoy it. And that's a good feeling. I mean, you get that from photography as well. So you kind of know how that feels of your work. Like I'm kind of new at it because I haven't really, I don't really do anything really like art wise, you know, and I know we're just talking in front of a mic, but to me it's kind of an art, art of conversation. And
for sure.
Yeah. And so to be able to be, I feel like I'm good at what I do, You are. And thank you. And when I'm able to release it and to people and like give them something to like make their work day go by easier or working on a car or working out or whatever hobby, walking a trail, you know, it's just, I think it's pretty neat. You know, it's been very rewarding.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing it?
Shit. So I had a podcast before this one. It was called Purple Pill Phenomena.
Okay.
It was back in 2021, I want to say, is when we started it. I know it was during COVID, and it was a big conspiracy-based podcast. We talked about a lot of other things too, just basically like four guys just chilling, you know, conversating, you know, cracking jokes, shit like that. Like, but we also covered certain topics, you know, and it was a good time. But this one I started about, I want to say 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. But my first year though, I dropped the first podcast, that first episode, and then completely ghosted. Yeah. For a whole year.
Why?
It's work, life.
Oh, okay.
Like I was so determined because I was so bummed out that the last one stopped. And then I was just like, I finally got, like, after a year or two, I can't remember how long it was in between, got myself to start my own, which I've always wanted to do, even before I started that one with the guys. And yeah, I had one of my best friends on. I interviewed him, went great. I thought it was actually this. I didn't have this studio. I had the studio at one of his office buildings, and it was like so bad. If you watched the first one,
hey, we got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
we do. But I posted it, and it was like a 2 or 3 hour conversation.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I posted it, and I fell off. It sucked, and. But then I finally got it back together, and like I just started like making content, and with like my brothers, and like some of those earlier episodes, they weren't even supposed to be released. Like it was just test episodes. And so I was just like, one day I'm like, dude, you got to put something out. Like you got to.
Yeah.
So I just threw it out there, even though I knew it wasn't that great. I wasn't as engaged because I thought it was just testing stuff and feeling out the vibe. It was kind of like what I call just like left in the vault.
Right.
And sent it out, and then it kind of got the ball rolling. Like I wasn't as happy with it, but then I started like, okay, now I got to reach out to people, like, and start looking for people on Instagram. How I found you know, and how I found a lot of the guests that I've had on, and it was just so neat. And then I just start finding all these people and like these cool ass lives they have, and I'm like, okay, Gabriel, just like send them a message, you know? And then I started doing that. And then it's like, since I released that energy, like of like trying to find others, like I started receiving it back, you know? So then I was having people message me, and then it was like, it was cool. It was going both ways.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I mean, it was great. And then, yeah, so far it's been going good this year. You know, been pretty consistent.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's like gotten easier the longer that you've been doing it?
Speaking to people, especially people like we just met right now, like that's gotten easier. I felt like I've always been decent at approaching people and being able to talk, but definitely like kind of like working out, just the repetitiveness, it becomes easier to do it. So it's easier now for me to even talk to people who I wouldn't have thought I'd talk to, you know? Right. That's really cool. But the editing side,
I know there's like so much when it comes to like the editing, the technological side of it. Yeah.
Like, and then
I'm sure you're constantly learning.
Yeah. And then like how to broaden who's seeing your shit, you know? So like clips and certain styles and like what is appealing, and there's just so much behind it, which I try not to fall too much into what everybody else is doing. I try to still stick to my own, but I do know some things you just kind of have to do if you're wanting people to see, especially long form podcasts. I believe yours are even like over an hour, right? Too, some of them.
Lately it's been, so I do mostly solo eps. Yeah. So I try and keep it at like 30 minutes around that mark. Yeah. And then with guests, like usually they're at least minimum an hour.
If I wasn't such a yapper, I would definitely keep it at 30 minutes just for the editing aspect of it. Like,
no, I felt that. Yeah. I'm such a yapper too. And I like go all over the place too. So.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm the same way. Like spider webbing all over
Yes,
the place.
I was listening to your episode and I was like, yep, I could literally relate to everything.
I know, even Michael said that in there. He's like, I'm sorry to go. I'm like, dude, I am all, if there was a board behind me with the red string, it would be all over the place.
That's my brain. Oh yeah, I can relate to that. And I really enjoy listening to your episode and like what you guys said about like actually listening to like people who are like local.
Yeah.
And I was like, because even just listening to that one episode, I was like, I like really like it because I can really relate.
Yeah, area wise and stuff like. And then I think it's so cool because you're like, oh, that guy or that girl lives like literally 15 minutes away from me, and we could link up and like, you know, whatever, do a project together or work together or whatever it is, or just be like a supporter, you know. And I think that's really neat. Then some, you know, celebrity in California, which, you know, I'm not saying you can't, but
the relatability is definitely less there. Yeah, because your podcast was actually the first podcast that I listened to that's like a local. Really? Other than the KCBC.
Oh yeah.
Other than that one episode, but yours was like.
Oh really?
So
that's cool. There's a lot popping up. There's a lot.
Yeah, I have a lot.
And there's
of
some
people.
that have been around, like I-70's been around, the Big Mod.
Okay, I-70. He reached out to
guys.
me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Dude, John is really cool.
Okay, I'm
really
excited.
Cool.
He seems funny.
He is. He's very funny. Very funny.
Yeah.
And it's just his energy. His energy is just uplifting. I hope he asked for me to go on again because I could go on numerous times, and we would probably never run out of anything to talk about. Like we would just, me and him talk for days. I mean, shit, on his podcast when he was here, we talked for 3 hours. We were talking about this last time when I was a guest on there. Over 3 hours.
Oh my God.
And then and this was in the dead of winter. Like I told you, it gets chilly down here. And I try to heat it up as best I can. But he came down, and then we talked for like 2 hours afterwards, or an hour. Like it was long, like long. And I told him last time he asked me, he's like, "Do you remember?" And I was like, I talked to so many people. It's like so hard to remember without going back and listening to the podcast. So like that's what I'm gonna have to do, because after 2-3 hour conversations every week, it's just like
every week.
I don't know if I can keep it all in my head.
Yeah, that's a lot. Those are like long conversations.
Very long,
too.
Very long. And it's not really I do it intentionally. It's just like if we're vibing, why stop it?
Right, exactly.
You know, that's kind of my thing. And it could be, I've had great conversations with people just for 45 minutes to an hour and a half. I've had some of those episodes as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing against the guest or anything. It's just like, okay, we talked about what we had to talk about. Our conversations are a little bit different, you know, they're shorter, you know, but you know, you can always come back on and we'll have another one.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like it has to be 3.5 hours. You know what I mean? It's just whatever happens. But I've listened to a lot of your episodes. I think they're great.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm really glad that you came on, because you're kind of new into it. You're almost approaching a year now, but like it's cool. And I know we're not far apart in total, I'm 2021, so I haven't been doing it for a long time either, but I like to see the stages. Yeah. So like just to remind myself of like the energy you feel right now from like starting your podcast and hitting your year, I think that's pretty neat. It's a good feeling.
I'm excited. Like I'm proud of myself for sticking with it for a whole year.
I know. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like I've already grown so much as a person through my podcast too. Like I've learned so much about like how to speak to people, and even just doing solo episodes, like how to like the layout and just like the tonality, like how you're saying things. Right. Like there's so much that goes into it. Yeah. So,
no, I completely agree. Yeah. Like there's a lot that goes behind the scenes, and then it's hard to be repetitive about it, like doing it weekly or doing it every other week. Because, and especially like you say, you edited your own stuff, like you're having to listen or watch yourself again, which is probably the worst thing. Like,
oh yeah.
Like I hate it personally of mine. Like it doesn't bother me as much as it used to, but it does get kind of annoying if I have to watch the episode. And sometimes it may be once or twice I have to, well, definitely once, but sometimes twice. And so it's like, oh, it just kind of messes with you. Then you start overanalyzing yourself, and you're like, God, I wish I would stop saying, you know, all the time. You know,
I say that all the time.
I just said it right now. You know, so again, but like it's weird. Like I try to tell myself though, just fucking talk how you talk.
It's just like a normal conversation, right? And I feel like the feedback I've gotten a lot is that people like that. It's just, it feels like a natural conversation. They feel like they're right there with me.
Right.
So now I'm like, okay, like I've embraced it. Obviously, I try and be better about it, but I'm not going to be upset if I'm saying that because it's so natural.
Yeah. And you want to be who you are out, person anyways.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have to change and put some type of mask on, then that's going to be even worse. Like you're going to have to become a character.
Right.
And you don't want to do that. Yeah.
No.
How was your day today?
My day was good. Yeah. Today was pretty chill. I literally just went to the gym.
Oh, nice. Where do you go?
OGKC.
Okay. Cool.
It's like right up the street.
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I've been going there.
Brent's a cool guy. Yeah.
Yep. I was talking to him for a little bit today.
Yeah. Tell myself what's up. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I like Brent.
Yeah.
He goes to Vava Jiu-Jitsu. I met him he used to come to our gym every now and then. He'd come by, swing by. So he used to come to a lot of open mats. So he's a cool dude.
Yeah. Small world.
Yeah, I know. Kansas City's small.
Yeah.
I know. It's kind of weird. It's like we're growing, but we're small at the same time. We're like in this weird stage right now. So, but there's a lot of things like definitely popping up though.
Yeah, but just the gym, and then right before this, my best friend like came over to my place, and so she's an architect, and she's actually my podcast room. I don't know if you kind of like seen it. It's not finished right now.
Yeah.
But she was the one who like helped me like designed it, so it was really cool to like go through that process with her and like see her in her like zone of genius. So yeah.
Is that in your house?
Yeah, it's in my house.
Cool.
So we have like a 3-bedroom. So we have like a spare bedroom.
Nice.
So I basically turned that into my podcast room, and we just need to like get it finished.
Oh, that's
There's
cool.
some like final touches.
When do you plan on doing that?
So actually on Christmas Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on Christmas Day, we were like, let's just like finish it. I have like a sign.
Yeah.
And I have some curtains. So my goal is to have it finished before season 3.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, which season 3 I'm planning for 111, so January 11th.
Oh, and season 2's over right now.
Season 2 is about to be.
So
next Thursday, I have my season finale episode. It's gonna be epic. Like, I don't think you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Because it's so I basically did like a whole photo shoot. So each guest I have on, the reason why I don't have a lot of guests on is because every time I have a guest on, I'm very intentional with it. And there's a lot of work that goes into it when I have a guest on, because I want it to be very like beneficial for them to be on my podcast as well, and I feel like with my podcast, how I'm doing it, I'm basically combining all my passions into it. So like for this new episode that's coming out, we like did a photo shoot, and I had like a kind of a whole team together. So I had a stylist, and then I also had a makeup artist and a videographer as well.
Oh, okay.
So we like...
And those are your 3 passions, you said?
Oh, no. So that was like my team, but my 3 passions are storytelling, photography.
Okay.
Yeah. And connecting with people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, networking.
Yeah. So basically, with the photo shoot, I used her story to create a concept. So with the photo shoot, I'm basically kind of telling her story. Yeah. So with this one, like when I had met up with her in a coffee shop, probably like the beginning of the year or even before that, and just kind of like got to know her story, and then from her story I came up with the concept of it reminded me of her like a phoenix rising from the ashes, because of her story. She's been through a lot to where she is now, and then with that we kind of went off of that. So the photo shoot was really cool, and I hired a videographer to like kind of just capture everything, to document it. And yeah, so that's gonna be releasing next Thursday. Like the video he created, you actually had him on your podcast.
Who? Oh, Joseph?
Yep.
Yeah, Joseph. He's cool.
Yeah, he's so talented.
Yeah, he really
amazing.
is.
I'm so happy I like hired him.
Yeah.
So
and he's so young too. I was like, damn, dude, you're killing it.
I know. He's gonna go to places for sure. Yeah,
he really is. It's just he's got such a good energy. You know, he's a good person to be around. Like even when he was here, like even nowadays, he checks in on me. Like he'll send me a message. Hey man, how you doing? You know, like The utmost respect, especially like I said, with how young he is. Like,
I know.
usually think he'd just like, all right, dude, see you later, man, and just like.
I was definitely not like that when I was 18.
He's like, I know, he's like an old soul. I wasn't like that either. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Like the way he is, his work is phenomenal. I mean, I remember when I came across his work, I was just like, dude, man, like. I see why Tech9 hired you, because his stuff stands out. It's so neat. And it's probably very hard. You're in the same field as well, right? Like to stand out, and when there's so many good photographers, it's difficult, I'm sure. How long have you been doing that?
Photography, I would say, so full-time about 3 years now. Yeah, but it's been a hobby since high school.
Oh, really? What got you into that?
So let's see. Okay. So I've after high school, I went to college. I went to community college, but like I just didn't care for it. Like I dropped out of community college, and
same.
So I basically was serving full time. Like that's what I was doing, trying to figure out like what exactly I want to do. School just was not my thing, but photography has always been like a hobby of mine. And I had a coworker who. She actually was getting married. So she knew that I did photography as a hobby. So she asked me, I was like, hey, like, would you be willing to like photograph my wedding, at like this, like I have this budget. So I think she paid me like $600. Yeah, but that was like my first paid gig, and it was a wedding, which is a big deal. So
nice.
I was like, yeah, like I'll do it. So I like started Googling a bunch of shit, and I was like trying to figure it out because obviously I don't want to like mess up someone's wedding day.
Yeah, that's probably the worst thing.
Yeah. So I Googled a bunch of stuff and learned through YouTube University.
And that was your first project?
Like first paid gig. Like obviously before that I did fun stuff with my friends, took pictures here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then comes her wedding day. It actually went really smoothly.
Yeah.
The only thing was right after ceremony and right after family photos, my camera battery died and I didn't think to bring another one.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but luckily she was like, you know what? It's fine. Like we captured all the important stuff. So now you just party with us. So it like worked out perfectly.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And I like.
How long did the camera last?
I mean, I was there when they were getting ready. So it lasted for like a good, like 6 hours, I think.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like an hour in and then it's like, no. Oh, shit.
No, like we got all the important pictures done already.
That's good.
Yeah.
So it was more of like the after party type,
right.
like everyone dancing
like the extras,
and stuff.
Yeah. So she was like, no, it's fine. I don't really care
Nobody
about
wants
that.
to remember those moments at all. It's like, dude, you got your drunk uncle over there dancing and shit. Yeah. Nobody wants pictures of that.
Yeah. But it like went really smoothly and that day, that day I was like, okay, you know what? Like this could be something. Like I could start my own business and start making money on the side.
Yeah.
So then I started doing that on the side while I was still serving full time. But then I think one day like work pissed me off. So then I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to start pursuing photography more. I'm going to cut back my hours. Like I really want to like go in on this. Because at the time, like serving full time, the money's great. Like I tell anyone, I'm like, if you don't know what you're doing, go serving. Like go serve or be a bartender. Yeah. And I still bartend as well. The money is so great and like the flexibility, it's amazing. But
how's it dealing with a bunch of drunk people all the time?
It is what it is.
You get used to it?
Oh yeah, you get used to it, and like I don't know, it's kind of entertaining sometimes,
Yeah,
so
it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it would get annoying, especially being a woman. Like you're always just probably getting hit on by a bunch of drunk dudes.
Oh yeah.
That probably gets annoying after a while.
It does, but it is like a part of the job. So
it is. At least it pays well.
Yeah. I always think about that. Yeah. But what was I saying?
I don't know. We just went off topic here. I don't know what we were talking about. Oh yeah, you were a server.
Yes. Okay. So when I was serving full time, I was not happy. Like, I think I would cry maybe like once a week.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like a sensitive little being too. So I've had to like grow some skin too. So yeah, I wasn't happy. So I decided to really put more of my energy towards photography. And then COVID hit. So then we were in lockdown. So I was actually out of a job for those 3 months. So during that time, like for me, COVID and lockdown was a huge blessing. And I know that's not the case for, you know, a lot of people.
Right.
But for me, it like really helped because I felt like before the lockdown, I was so in the grind. I just never had the space to really sit and be like, what am I doing? Like, is this a path I want to continue to go on? Like, you know, like all that stuff. And during lockdown, I finally was able to just relax and kind of just do things that I want to, you know, like outside of the hustle and the grind.
Kind of find yourself.
Yeah. So during that time, I mean, like the first month, I think I just like fucked around and, you know, watch a lot of TV and
only so much Netflix you can watch.
Yeah, did random shit and then a lot of home workouts. And then eventually I was like, you know what? Like I should start using this time to like learn more about photography. So I like really started learning. And during that time, I like booked another like a wedding, like a first real client who like wasn't a friend of mine, just some random person.
Right.
So that was like I booked my first wedding during lockdown. And that's kind of like how I feel like lockdown really gave me the space to be able to pursue photography even more and make it more of a full-time thing.
Yeah, because I bet it's hard. It's probably hard to do that, you know, full-time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like being a barber or a tattoo artist. You got to like create your own client list.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
there's a lot.
But the only way to get that is to like you do the work and then they spread your name and then advertisement and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. No, it's definitely been like a journey and I'm still obviously like I still bartend. I'm not like quite ready to go full-time like that yet because I don't want to have that like stress and pressure. I want to still be able to feel like I can be creative and kind of relax because I feel like when I put so much pressure to make money through photography, it kind of took my love away from it. But I'm hoping that eventually, you know, I can get to the point to where I don't have to bartend anymore. But right now, this works for me. I enjoy bartending. It's a very I feel like it's a very fun job. You know, they're both very different.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. You know, I bartend maybe like a couple days a week, so it's not that bad.
And you're downtown, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, down in Power and Light.
Nice.
So.
How's that?
It's
fun?
Good. Yeah. No, it's fun. It's a very different environment from where I came from.
Right.
Because before that, I was at like a brewery restaurant, which is like a very family friendly type of vibe. You know, I have my regulars that came in to see me all the time, and it's constantly the same people, families, to working downtown, where it's very, very different.
Yeah.
But in a good way. Like I really I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the weekends are probably wild. I'm sure the weekdays aren't too bad, but
it
probably depends, I guess, on the night. But
yeah,
no, that's cool. You can meet new people too, new guests.
Oh yeah, I meet all kinds of people because it's a very like touristy area. You know, people from out of town are always in. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. Are you thinking about doing like remote podcasts too, or just in person for your new season?
Oh,
like over the Zoom. Yeah.
Honestly, that could be something to think about. But
because with you meeting a lot of people that are possibly not from here, you know,
true.
You're able to connect with them. I mean, as much as you can. You're working, so I get that. But you know, you're able to at least speak with them for a little bit, and then you know, who knows, it could be a possible guest, but they're from Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, maybe down the future, but right now,
I'm
gonna focus on people that are like
it's a seed. We'll plant it.
Yeah, you know? No, I like that. Yeah.
I had heard that you, in one of your episodes, you were from or you went to Taiwan.
I'm originally from Taiwan. Yeah.
Okay, you're originally from, but you lived there until like how long was it?
Yeah, so I was there until I was 9. So I moved to America, when I was 9. Okay. And when I first moved here, I literally didn't speak any English at all. So, but now you can't really tell. I mean, I feel like I still have a little bit of accent when I get really excited.
Yeah.
But
didn't you like move back and stuff like that too? So like you were there when you were older as well, right? How long were you there when you were older?
Yeah. So after high school, I moved back to Taiwan and I lived here for almost a year, I would say. But yeah, and it was definitely like a harder time in my life, just because I really didn't have like a choice of moving there, just with family stuff, you know, how that can be complicated. When I first moved to America, I lived with like my aunt and uncle's family. And things got kind of hard at home. So after I graduated high school, she basically was like, okay, you can go back to Taiwan now. Mm-hmm. So I went back to Taiwan, spent a year there. I actually took up a serving job when I was there. And I also had just started dating my boyfriend at the time. So we were doing long distance. And yeah, the whole time I was there, I really just like wanted to come back to America.
Right.
Like I just
How
knew.
was it over there?
It's good. No, I love Taiwan, mm-hmm. and I would love to go back. Hopefully next year.
But you being older, like you're able to, like, how old were you? Did you say when you were over there? When you were older?
I was 18.
18?
Yeah.
So like, what's the difference between like life over there and life over here? Like, is it a different vibe, like different way of life, or is it kind of the same?
I would say,
I guess probably depending on where you're at in that country.
Yeah, too. Yeah. I would say, I mean, there's definitely, I feel like it's definitely different, like culture wise, but I don't know if I can think of anything off the top of my head because I feel like it's been so long too since I've like lived in that environment for me to be able to think about something.
Right. No, I get it.
But I would say like I lived in Taipei, which is the capital of Taiwan. Okay. So it's basically like a city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a big city. So I, you know, took
just
a
like
lot
here,
of.
You worked and just probably went to school and stuff like that.
Yeah. I would say it's different. Like culturally.
Or were you out of school?
I was out of school. Oh, so when I was there, I didn't go to school. I just worked, and that was pretty much it. I worked and kind of was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Right. When I was there, and my uncle, he lives in Taiwan, so he basically was like, he wanted me to stay in Taiwan, and he was like, I will pay for your college. Like, if you stay here, I'll pay for your college, like whatever degree you want to go into. Yeah. And I really like consider that. And I started like looking at stuff and me like serving at this job. So my cousin in Taiwan actually found me this job because my Chinese is actually not very good. So she luckily found me this job at this like restaurant. So her friends own this restaurant, and it's actually an American restaurant. Oh, okay. So a lot of their customers would be American. So it worked out to where I speak English so I can interact with the Americans. Nice. Yeah. But then I also knew enough Chinese to be able to communicate with the locals. Right. So it worked out, and I was very like blessed to have that job because during that job I was able to start making friends there, because one thing when I was in Taiwan was that I don't have any friends here, you know. All my friends are back in America. My boyfriend's back in America.
And you're 18. So it's got to be
And difficult. It's like when you're 18 and you had no choice but to move, like it wasn't your choice, you know, that makes it even harder for you to want to be at that place. Right. So I think my relationship with being at Taiwan at the time, like I was not happy. I really fought with my family a lot.
Because what do you mean by you didn't have a choice? Was it just issues going on at home or like...
Yeah,
so just personal stuff.
So when I moved to America, my aunt and uncle adopted me into their family. Okay. So that I could live here. And then me and my aunt at the time just didn't have the best relationship, you know. And now as an adult, I can look back and understand why, because my uncle was in Taiwan most of the time, which left her here taking care of me on top of her kids. Yeah. So I can understand that. And they own restaurants too. So there's a couple restaurants here that they own. So being a business owner, you know, always working, taking care of kids, like I can understand how that is a lot.
I bet.
So I feel like it just kind of made our relationship bumpy because at least from my point of view, I felt like a burden that was kind of like left behind. Right. So I think that's why things got tough. And, you know, I was a teenager, you know, I make mistakes. I'm not
There's probably little wrongs on both sides.
Yeah. So, as soon as I graduated, she kind of just kicked me out. I was like, okay, you can go back home to your family now. So that's why I really had no choice in that. So yeah.
Usually like the thought on it's like Asian families are tight, you know what I mean? But I guess that's kind of a stereotype, I guess if you say. It's like saying like, you know, because I know like, especially on the, like in the Latino culture, you would think the same thing. But I also know there's Latino families, you know, that I know that, are not as tight as you would think. That stereotypical,
right. I feel like our family has like just a lot of drama in the past, but
I just knew that because like I went to school with some, and like I would see how some of their families
No, that's definitely a thing.
I was like, damn, dude, I was like, you guys are tight, man.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's definitely a thing.
Letting the children live there till like 26, 28, sometimes even older.
And that's the thing. That's exactly how my siblings are.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I always say I'm the black sheep of my family.
You're the free bird.
I'm like the one who I do my own thing. And like, so when I lived in Taiwan, when I finally got to come back here, it was my decision. And I came back here. When I came back here, I basically kind of cut ties with everyone. I was like, I just couldn't, like, I just needed that for myself. So as soon as I moved back here, I just stopped talking to everyone. And just started living my own life and creating my own life. And it wasn't until these past years that I've been able to reconnect with my family. So it's been really nice to like.
You said it was your siblings?
That
were able to, or did you say relatives?
My siblings.
Like, so how many siblings do you have?
So I have two. I have a sister, an older sister, and an older brother.
Oh, okay. So you're the baby.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And they're both like 10 plus years older than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I can see why you'd be like that then, because I mean they're way older than you, so you're kind of not technically, but kind of only child vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My boyfriend always says I give major only child energy. So.
Yeah, I mean, because I can see that's why you kind of want to be like by yourself, like go do your own thing.
Yeah, and honestly, like I've been able to like reflect on that too. Is that like I feel like because as a child, I spent a lot of time by myself because my siblings are way older, so I always played by myself. And when I lived in Taiwan as a kid, I was raised by my grandparents, so they were very like I was very sheltered as a kid, so I didn't really go out, hang out with people a lot. I really just spent a lot of time by myself. And then even like moving to America, I also just kind of being adopted into their family. I think I always just kind of felt a little bit of disconnect.
Right.
So I think I just really spent a lot of time by myself, like in my room, like doing my own thing. And now like I'm grateful for that because I feel like I'm an independent thinker.
Right.
And I feel like I think for myself more. And I think it's because of all those reasons.
And you also mentioned too that your parents were deaf, right? So you grew up with deaf parents.
Yeah.
How is that like? Because that's got to be difficult, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think growing up with that, I always felt like it made me different from other kids. And I always like, I think I always felt a little bit ashamed of it too. And that as an adult, like is something I'm still working through as well.
Like
those
just
feelings.
because you feel guilt that you felt that way?
Yeah. I think.
But I mean, as an older woman now though, you don't feel like that. So I mean, it's probably not good to dwell on that. You know what I mean? We can beat ourselves up a lot on stuff. I do it as well. Trust me. There's times, I mean, shit, it's brought me to tears where I've just regretting things that I've done or ways I've acted, because I'll be 33 here in January. So to think of like, late teens, 20s, like, where I was an idiot, and it's like, you can't hold yourself for the things that you've done in the past. And if you continue, you're going to keep repeating the past. You're not going to be able to branch out and move on and move forward and create a new person. You're going to be stuck there, and that's one thing that I deal with a lot. And still to this day, I'm getting better and better. I mean, just like we discussed earlier, working out, you got to keep working at it to get better and see results.
Yeah.
So, but for sure. So I just advice from me, take it.
I love it. I'm like, wow, this is like a therapy session.
But like, really, just don't move. You gotta just let it. Like every time it comes to you, because it won't stop. Like that book, and I'll show you. I recommend it to everybody. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Okay.
A lot of people have been seeing it now, especially like over the past like 5 years. Stoicism is becoming really big. but you're never going to be like fully happy and be everything's going good mentally, physically. Like the point is to like notice it and be able to utilize the tools that have been able to help you get over these things, whether it's meditating, working out, therapy, or whatever it is, and using and identifying it and go, I need to do this to relieve this.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
relieve that energy.
Yeah.
And that's one big thing I've been trying to work on a lot, you know, is because sometimes for the longest I've noticed it and then months go by and I go, oh, fuck. Like I've been on one, just like, I didn't even see it, you know, it's just like, it's normal. So noticing it faster, maybe a day or two is kind of my goal that I want to get to.
I think that's how I've been too, is like, I feel like each time, like it takes me less time to notice those things and then use what I've learned to help me, you know, get through it.
No, for sure. How old are you?
I'm 28.
28. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I mean, and even going to that, like with like your career and stuff like that, like you have time, you know, like don't rush yourself, you know, like you have to do it now.
Oh yeah. That's been my biggest thing.
I deal with it too. Like when I hit my 30s, I was like, oh, fuck, dude. Like you got to figure it out. But I'm like, I try to tell myself, and luckily I have good people around me too that tell me like, dude, just chill. You know, like there's people that find themselves at 40s, 50s, you know, no matter how corny people may think it is, it's like if the universe wants it for you and the universe is ready for it, you know, the timing will happen when it's supposed to happen. Not saying you don't have to put in the work. Yeah. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
Exactly. So, yep.
But so dealing with that on your parents, like, how was that? Like, was there kind of and this is me asking because I have no idea. Is there like a emotional detachment when it comes to having to deal with that?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, you know, like growing up, like the communication is definitely harder. Like, so I'm doing sign language.
Everything,
Yeah, so I feel like there was definitely never that like emotional support, and I feel like they could only,
other than I'm sure physically, like hugs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. And honestly, so because of my like parents' disabilities, like that's why my grandparents raised me,
right?
So really,
so there was even that disconnection as well.
Yes. And then like with my grandparents, you know, they're an older generation, so
very different.
Yeah, so I felt like growing up,
different type of love.
Yes, yeah. So just definitely the emotional side was definitely never really there. Yeah.
Huh. Is that something that you still have issues with to this day? Like maybe that kind of nature nurture to you as well? Being able to open up your feelings and being able to explain. Yeah.
That's been a huge thing I've been like actually working on. Even like with my own best friends, you know, like just being able to communicate my feelings. I bet. So that way they're understanding me because they love me and want to know instead of me just holding it inside and eventually, you know, or I'll like distance myself or something like that.
And the only thing, like, because I've dealt with people that have that same, I don't want to call it a problem, but just like that thing that they have, like to where they're communicating of their feelings and emotions, very difficult for them, and they don't even notice, you know, and because this is how they've been their whole life. They've had a mother that never hugged them or kissed them or told them they loved them, or a father that did that, you know, and they grew up as that's the norm. But to others, and even I'll say this too, to go back to that, you may have two children that grow up in the same way, but one might be very verbally emotional and physically emotional, but the other one may not, you know? So it always depends, because I've seen it. I've seen two sisters grow up and both of them are completely different and grew up in the same household. So it's kind of depends on the individual and the way they deal with things. Like that's kind of, which is weird. You think that would be developed by your surroundings, but some people just have, that's who they are. And the only thing I would say is like, to people who deal with that, you know, luckily I was fortunate enough. My mother was very kind and nurturing, you know, not saying we were a perfect family or anything.
Yeah.
We still had our own issues, but she showed love the best that she knew how. What I would say is like people who are dealing with that emotional connection issue is really have to look at it from the outside, like the other person's shoes, because I believe that takes probably a huge toll on a lot of relationships, whether it be friends or partners. Yeah, like you really have to put yourself outside of your shoes and really try to see like, what are they talking about? Because to you it's normal, but to them it's like, man, it's like pulling teeth with you trying to get how you feel out, you know, and it's exhausting for the friend or the spouse or whoever, you know, and it almost comes to a point, it's like, do you even care?
Yeah. And that's like the thing that like my best friend, like we literally recently had this. She was like, I just need to know like what you're feeling. That way I know what we can do. Like instead of me like trying to figure out myself, you know?
Yeah.
And I definitely in the past have lost friends over this type of stuff.
Right.
So now like I feel like I'm working on like just expressing how I feel and being a better communicator.
That's cool that you noticed it. Some people don't even notice and they just continue. They're like, oh, well, they're wrong.
And I have like good people in my life as well who like help me through that, and they understand me and they understand where I come from. And they, So.
Or did your father passed away?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, when you were younger, right?
So he passed, I want to say I was probably in like kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
It's
around 5.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of memory of it, but definitely I feel like things in my life changed a lot like after he passed away, you know. After he passed, like my mom really, I feel like she really lost herself, you know.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Losing your partner. How long were they together?
I have no idea.
Long time, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Like I don't even, it's weird. Like I don't even know anything about my mom, like my biological mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I really don't know much. Like,
so she wasn't really in your life at all then, right?
So growing up, my grandparents took care of me, right? So she would come, I think like every weekend or every other weekend.
Right.
She would come and we would have a day together.
Oh, okay.
But it was like, I don't know. It's like you can't really connect with each other. And I was a kid, so I didn't really know how to connect with my mom either.
Yeah.
I would just tell her, oh, I want this. And she'll get me that.
Yeah. And you already, I remember listening to one of your episodes that you already had developed a connection to the person who was taking care of you.
Yes. Yeah. So that was
which was you said a helper. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a better word for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could use nanny. I mean, I don't know what term you'd use for it. Yeah.
Yeah, but growing up, we always had a helper, and she was like the most consistent, stable person in my life, who I felt like I could open up to and voice my needs and be 100% me. I felt like everyone else in my family, I couldn't be like that.
Oh, so she was very good at like emotionally like connecting with you. She took care of me. I was like literally attached to her. Yeah. Listened to you, played with you.
Yes. Yeah, like she did my hair before I went to school, all of that.
Very motherly things.
Yeah. So it was actually really hard for me so she had a contract. I think when her contract was up, the night before we like slept together, we like cuddled. And then I remember in the morning, she was just gone.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then that was when
How old were you?
I was like 8 or 9, like right before I moved to America.
And how long was she there?
She was there like literally my whole childhood year. Yeah. So then when that happened, that was actually what made me decide to move to America. Because sorry if I'm all over the place.
No, the floor's yours.
Okay.
You talk.
But
talk as much as you want.
After my dad had passed, my uncle kind of took over the role as my father. And since he had his family in America, he was always trying to get me to move to America with his family. But I always told him no. Like, I was like, no, like, I'm happy in Taiwan, But then as soon as the helper left, that's when I was like, okay, I'll go to America.
And
like,
he was here in Kansas City, or was he?
He was always back and forth.
No, but I mean, like, where you moved to America, was it here in Kansas City? Okay.
Yep, here in Kansas City.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, after she had left, I was kind of like, well, I have nothing else holding me in Taiwan that I really care about. Why not? I'll go to America. Because he would literally ask me like once a year. So he would like go back to America for a couple months, come back to Taiwan. And every time he would come back, he would ask me like, oh, like, are you ready to move in with us? Like, you would have a better life in America. Like, the education will be better. Everything's better there.
Yeah, that's nice that he was trying to look out for you.
Yeah. So then that's why I decided, I was like, okay. And then moved here and started my new life here.
Did you ever get to reconnect with the lady who raised you?
No, not really. So after I moved to America, I spent a couple years here and then finally was able to go back to Taiwan for a summer. And during that time, okay, so let me go back a little bit. The day that she left, she actually didn't go back home.
Okay.
So she didn't want to go back to wherever she was from. I can't remember what place it was.
But it was in Taiwan, right?
It was like Indonesia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so she wasn't even from. Oh, okay.
So she actually, I think, had her own family there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this was actually a really common thing in Taiwan. A lot of elders. So my uncles, like, families will hire these helpers and they will live in the house and take care of like the elder. And
they just do it like Monday through Friday, or like every day?
Yeah, like she lived
7
with
days?
us.
Oh.
She lived with us, and like,
because I remember you saying some days when she didn't work, you missed her. So is that just her day off?
Mm-hmm. So she would have like one day off a week where she just like was gone doing whatever.
Her own thing.
Yeah.
Was she younger?
I think she was probably in her like late 20s or
really?
30.
Okay, so that was probably like a connection too, because she's younger. You know what I mean? So she probably, the way she parented you was maybe different as well, and different culture as well. So, yeah.
But I was very attached to her. Her and I were like attached to each other, and she didn't want to like go back home. I don't know the exact reason why. I always thought because she didn't want to leave me. Yeah. But she like ended up like, I don't know where she ran off to, but she basically like broke her contract. So she became like illegal.
Oh, shit. And so she was just hanging out in Taiwan. Oh,
and she was illegal.
Maybe where she was from was probably not good.
Yeah.
Who knows? But you said she had family there, though. Oof,
weird. So then I remember when that summer, when I finally got to go back to Taiwan, I guess they actually found her. And she was working in one of my family's restaurant, like in the kitchen. So like no one would know.
Right, hiding her out.
Yeah. So then I got to see her that one time. But I think I felt like I remember seeing her and just feeling like very, like I didn't know what to do.
Right.
Like there was no emotion. I was like, hi.
What did she say when she seen you?
I think we just said hi to each other. Like I think.
Was it kind of a letdown a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
Or were you expecting it to be different?
No, I don't know. I think I was so emotionally. I don't know. I feel like as a child, because of how like that was for me, I think I maybe just kind of like blocked that off. So when I saw her, I was like happy to see her.
And how old were you when you seen her the second time?
Probably like 13. 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there wasn't too much time between. But you're also 13.
Yeah.
You're a teenager. Teenagers don't care about shit. Yeah. No, I could see that. Yeah. Like you're in your own world at that time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, I think eventually she got sent back home.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm telling you now, because I know she's not illegal anymore. She's
back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. And she had family too, like kids and stuff like that, or like just like
I'm pretty
family?
sure she had kids too.
She was like, see y'all later. She's back now. But yeah, no, that's crazy. And so, and the reason why I bring up all this stuff is because like listening to your podcast, it's geared towards women. Okay. Which, honestly, some of the things I've listened to, I mean, men could take some of the advice as well. It's honestly, I think, good to listen to the opposite sex, so you can kind of understand their thought process on things and how they go about stuff and how they see things. Vice versa as well. I think women should more have looked towards men, not just their girlfriends as well. Like, look on the man's side, listen to them, and kind of find truth in the middle. But I ask you all this stuff because I just hear you like trying to help with like kind of the emotion side of things, how you deal with stuff, process things, what tips on what could help these other people that are listening. And I see all of it stemming from like you as a child all the way up and the things you've gone through. So it makes sense on why it's important to you. Because like you're giving me a lot of good energy right now. Like, you seem very happy, but we all know, like everybody, we deal with our own stuff. So it's cool to see that you're doing this for other people, because I mean, a lot of people out here, they're going through similar stuff, and they could use the help.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't think you always have to, not saying you shouldn't, but, sometimes listening to a good podcast, just a casual, someone talking it out about how they feel inside can really help you, the listener.
Yeah.
And, because not everybody has access to therapy and money for all that stuff. And, it'd be great, and sometimes you may not need necessarily therapy. We always want to jump straight to you need a therapist.
Yeah. And I think there's
when you could just listen to an episode of yours or any other ones, and it could help, we're all different. We all take things in different. And, I think it's very beneficial.
Yeah. And I think there's an element to just feeling like you're not alone. Like listening to someone, oh my God, like she struggles with that, and it just makes you feel better about it. Right. Because I know like that's something I do when I'm like going through something. I go to Google and I start Googling the weirdest shit. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I feel a lot better now because I know like this is normal. People go through this. And I think, so that's like really at the end of the day, what I hope people take away from my podcast is that I'm just a person who's learning and growing and kind of just sharing what I've learned and what I'm still learning.
No, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think podcasts help a lot, and a lot more than what people think. They're getting very popular now. So, I mean, I've been listening to them, for a long time, and it's really cool to see, as well as really cool, like I said, to see, local ones popping up here and there, so, but going back on that part, like what's like, are your listeners connecting with you or friends? Like, is that kind of where you're getting a lot of your, the stuff you want to talk about and discuss, or is it just all kind of like everything you're going through?
I would say it's everything I'm going through. So I think of topics. And originally, when I first started the podcast, I was trying to, have everything laid out, like my topics. But then as I've done the podcast, it hasn't worked out like that. I kind of just talk about what comes to me. And I'm a very spiritual person. So I just feel like sometimes I'll get these like downloads and ideas. And I feel like they're like what I'm meant to talk about too. And I'm like, oh, maybe one person needed that. Yeah. And that's, why I wanted to talk about it.
For sure.
Yeah. No. And I'm like, if I'm going through it, I know someone else is going through this too. So yeah, I kind of just have been thinking of topics like on my own.
And like also to cut back too on the fitness route, because we kind of glanced over that. I know fitness is like a very important thing in your life. I've been loving seeing like everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everyone is getting into the fitness, and not enough, but it's getting bigger. Yeah, and it's so cool to see, especially over the last 10 years. And I think people are really starting to see the benefits. It's becoming trendy. I hope it keeps going. When did you start kind of going down that route, like of health and fitness?
Yeah. So I feel like health and fitness has always been a big part of my life, even since like middle school. Like anytime something would happen at home, that was my outlet. Like I always would go out to my neighborhood and start running.
Middle school, that's pretty early.
I just would go on a run, headphones, listen to some sad music and just
get motivation.
Yeah, or some angry music and just let it run it out.
Yeah.
But so it's always been a big part of my life. And then in high school, I played some sports. I was not good at any of the sports that I played.
What'd you play?
I played basketball and soccer. But I've talked about it on my podcast episode, but I think I have. But I really did those sports as a way for me to not be at home.
Right.
I didn't want to be at home. So anything that could get
you
me
out the house.
Yeah. So I would do those sports, even though I really didn't care about playing. I was like, I'm fine with just, being here.
Sitting on the bench and watching.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
I was totally fine with that. And even during the summer, when you play those sports, you would have to attend the weights class. You have to do a certain amount of days or something for you to make it next year.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I would hit those days. And even after I hit those days, I still kept going. And it was during the summer. I just kept going every day, showing up at 6 a.m. And I remember my coach just saying to me, wow, I'm so impressed. You're just constantly showing up. But for me, I feel like health and fitness started at a pretty early age for me. And then during that time, I would Google a lot of stuff, like what's healthy, like what type of stuff to get out of the grocery store. So I started really learning about...
In high school? Oh, really?
I would just do my own research, That's what neat. Type of food I should eat. And I remember we would have ramen noodles at home.
Love
and I
ramen
remember,
noodles.
Same. But I remember reading about it. I was like, oh my God, it's so bad for you. There's so much sodium.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my aunt, I was like, oh my God, we need to stop eating ramen noodles. She got annoyed with me. But
dude, we have designer ramen noodles. We'll be picking up ones. I have no idea what the label even says.
Designer?
Yeah, I just call them designer because they're not your regular just ramen, chicken ramen noodles. They're nice ass logos and shit on them.
No, there's healthier alternatives now to ramen
I don't think
noodles.
the ones I'm getting are healthy. I think they're the ones that are still pretty bad, but they look cool. They have a penguin on it or some shit with some Asian lettering. So it's fuck it. Let's try it. Spicy. That's all I need it to be.
Yes.
So.
I mean, I still love it. Every once in a while, it's good.
Oh, yeah. You got to. You got to. Yeah, because you even competed and stuff like that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Was that later on in your life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then, I was going to say, so I've always been into health and fitness. And then my boyfriend, he's always been into the gym as well. So in high school, he's always been lifting, play sports. So when we got together and I moved back to America, he kind of showed me the ropes. So he took me to the gym with him and
because prior you were just running and playing sports, right?
Yeah,
not really weightlifting.
I did some of that.
Okay.
On my own.
I guess at school, yeah.
Yeah, I did some of that, but I didn't know a lot about it.
Right.
And
form and what type of workouts and how to set them up and all that stuff.
Yes, and the gym that he went to, which is OGKC, the one that we go to right now, can be kind of intimidating. It's a very weightlifting gym.
For sure.
So I was nervous about that. But he showed me the ropes and then I just got really into it and I started doing my own research and just got into the gym. And then yes, I eventually competed. So this was actually after COVID. So when things started to open back up, my boyfriend and I actually split.
Oh, okay.
So I was single when I competed for the first time. And during that time, I was
probably the best way to do it. Motivation right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're in that
revenge bod.
That sad, revenge bod. In the sad, put on the sad song. Cue the sad songs right now and just fucking lift.
Yeah. But I was actually just working out at the gym one day.
Yeah.
And this one guy comes up to me and he ended up being my coach.
Oh, cool.
So he came up to me. He was like, hey, I've seen you here a lot. I think you have a great physique, not to be creepy or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I am a coach and I'm looking to take on some more competitors. Have you ever thought about competing?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, kind of, but nothing serious. I've just thought it would be cool or fun to do.
Yeah.
And in that
list.
Yeah. In that stage of my life, I'm freshly single. I was going through a lot at the time, a big transition, and I was kind of just ready for change. So anything that was coming my way, I'm like, yes, let's do it. So when he came up to me, I was like, yeah, I'm down, let's do it. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So started like prep, started that journey with him, and yeah.
Really? What kind of competition was it?
It was natural bodybuilding, so I did like the bikini division.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was a really good.
Aren't they all in bikinis?
So I don't know how much you know about the sport.
Talk to me.
Okay. There's a lot.
I know a little bit. I had a guy, John Ott. He was on. He does stuff.
I know. I see his stuff right here.
Yeah, I know. You'll have to take some. Have you tried them before?
I've done the smelling salt because, like he always has his booths. And yeah, I tried it once. I don't know if I've tried his pre-workout. But yeah.
That one right there. What's it say on it? Like berry munch or some shit?
Smashberry.
Smashberry. That shit. I've never tasted a pre-workout like that in my life.
Okay.
It's weird. It's got like Halloween vibes to it too, for some weird reason.
Okay. I'm looking for a new pre, so maybe.
Not saying you should only drink it around that time, but when it does come around that time, it's very fallish, I feel like. I don't know.
I'll have to try it. I feel like we're shouting out so many different people today.
Oh, for sure. Dude, we have to. Like, there's so many cool people here in Kansas City. Like, we have that group message going on right now for the whole podcast
I'm
event.
So excited about
that. I know. It's going to, like, I'm surprised it hasn't been done yet, which is crazy to me. But, like, I think it's going to be so cool to have everybody down. And I hope it's not just us in the group. Like, those are just the people I could think of that, like, I've been communicating with.
Yeah.
Like, I hope more podcast people, more creators, more artists, photographer, whatever the fuck you are, like, come down. Like, and once we have the details all hashed out, I'll send everything out. We're looking at probably like, I guess we all have to sit down and kind of think about that. But 2025, something maybe summerish, or, that's kind of when I would like to do it. I like fall more, but summer's kind of the time to, like, everyone's doing stuff. Yeah. So it's probably the best time. Mm-hmm. Not too hot, though. We don't want to get too hot.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. Like, I have so many ideas, like, just like doing like a live podcast with all of us at a table and like shooting the shit and just having people on and food and booths and and because I've met so many different people. We might have bodybuilders over here doing their thing, and break dancers over here doing their thing, and lowrider scene over, what I mean, like photographers over there. So it's like, but then we can all kind of mingle and just kind of create this cool little universe that of our own.
No, that would be awesome.
And kind of hype each other up, help each other out.
I think that would be, I'm so excited. I'm all about community, so
it's gonna be
sign
great.
Me up.
But back to what you were saying on the bodybuilding. So I don't know shit. So help me out here.
So there's different divisions in bodybuilding. So for a woman, I know about women, I don't know about men, but so there's bikini, wellness, figure, a bunch of different divisions that you can do. So I competed in bikini, and then I would say bikini out of all the other divisions are like the most natural looking physique. And then the league that I competed in is called NAMBF. And it's a natural bodybuilding. So they actually test you for if you are on gear or on steroids.
That's whack.
So that was like a good way to start. I feel like if you're getting started, a good way to get into it.
For sure.
Because, like, if you're doing NPC, then people can be on steroids.
So you don't have to be like huge in this competition. It's like more of like natural physique, slender, very defined muscles.
I would say you do, like, you should see some of the men like that are natural athletes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they get big.
It's insane, like that they can achieve that. You know, like, so I'm working with a coach right now, and it's a different coach, and he's a natural athlete as well, and his physique is insane. Like the fact that he achieved that naturally.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work. But even not natural too. Like, I mean, it's still hard. It's all hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you definitely have to put in the work.
One definitely helps you out more than the other. But yeah, it's all like these guys, like, because I'm on TRT and I've done cycles as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, guys, look at me. I have no bodybuilder physique. Now look at John Ott, or whatever bodybuilder you want to name at OGKC. It's like those guys, they might be on gear, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Probably. But look at them and then look at me. Like, I don't put in the work that they do. Like, they're fucking huge for a reason because they put in the work. I still work out 4 times a week and I don't look like that. So there's way more into it than just juicing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, diet, sleep.
Oh yeah.
Fucking their workouts they do.
Yeah, just the training.
So
how you're
much
training.
stuff, and it's so God, man. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
What those guys and girls do.
So
even in the women's side, I don't know much about the women's side, but it's the same thing.
So you've taken you've been on cycles before. Did you feel like when you came off of it though, it like fucked with your hormone?
Well, I don't come off. Like I stay on TRT.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait. Okay.
So TRT is just testosterone replacement therapy.
Okay.
But I've done cycles as well, like DECA, Masteron, stuff like that. Like I've done a 10-week and came off of it.
Right.
I feel fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I get like little acne and stuff like that. Like it sucks. Because I mean, I think they say to find you're supposed to find the correct amount. Like blasting a whole bunch isn't always the best thing for your body. Now, I find little arguments at, and I'm not a scientist when it comes to this, or a bodybuilder, really. These bodybuilders know a lot of fucking, like some of them I think should be scientists because the way they talk about their art, like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, how do you know all this shit? But like, so I think there is something to doing a lot too. Like it definitely helps, but I don't feel anything off other than the energy goes down for sure. Yeah. Like on certain ones, strength for sure goes down. Yeah, that's not a whole bunch that you would think.
Okay.
Now, I was doing very small things like, I think the highest I've ever done is like 2.5 mLs a week.
Okay. See, I don't know much about that stuff either.
Yeah. I mean, I hate how people make it seem so bad. It's really not. And honestly, I think if, and Derek from More Plates, More Dates talks about this a lot. Like Biden was one of the ones who kind of like really, like I guess his last podcast he talked about really went after steroid use. I don't know what year that was. I know when he was a younger man, so maybe early 2000s, 90s. I don't know. But I think if they would have left it more open, kind of like any drug that weirdly they schedule, like marijuana Schedule 1 at a time, or I think it used to be, or just weird things. Like they just ban them when they can be studied and bettered, like make them better.
I agree.
Like steroids, like we're doing shit from fucking 30 years ago still. Like think about where we would be at right now if it was actually they were developing those things. Like it could be safer, it could be better. But sometimes I feel like they don't want that. You know what I mean? Not saying that it should be given to 21-year-olds, right? But dudes in their 30s and their 40s, and chicks that want to do it too. It's like, because women, honestly, when I used to go to NHR, their hormone replacement therapy clinic, that's where I got my stuff. Okay. Justin, he's a hell of a good guy, very smart. I'm trying to get him on the podcast. Justin, if you're watching this. He has told me that women are one of the biggest overlooked on hormone imbalances. I mean, giving birth, the fluctuation of the stuff you guys have to go through in your body. I mean, and not saying that you have to just, something's off, blah, 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 I got to go hop on this. Definitely try the natural route first. Oh, yeah, always. Megan Linninger, she's awesome. She's a health coach, holistic health coach, I believe she goes by. She's on Instagram. Do you follow her?
I don't think so.
I'll have to send you. Okay. She's awesome. Yeah. Like, she specifically geared towards women. I think she does some male stuff too, she told me. But, like, she has so much advice for, like, the hormone stuff. That's, like, a huge thing. The imbalances of your hormones, like, can throw a ton of stuff off. Oh, yeah. And there's so many things naturally that you can do to help balance that. So, yeah. I don't know if you've ever looked into that or ever heard, discussions of, that stuff in gyms and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like a big... It's a big thing. Yeah.
No, I don't really get into steroids and all that. I don't know. I guess I haven't done a lot of research to know much about it. But yeah, I know hormones definitely
and that's the thing. Like, I wish they would stop bashing it on these guys. Like, I'm glad a lot of these guys are just coming out and saying I use it because it's like, who cares, man? Right? Like, especially like when I do in jiu-jitsu, like it's pretty popular. So it's like I don't. everyone in all these different sports are doing it. Football, soccer, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my thing is I just recommend go the natural route first. Try to figure out like what I did for years. I worked out. I, ate as clean as I could. I'm not going to say it was the cleanest. Worked out 5 days a week, did that, and just still felt like I was like, why am I not seeing results? Like why am I getting told, do you really go to the gym? Like shit like that. And I'm like, I know how to work out. I played sports my whole life, all the way up through high school.
Yeah.
I did let myself go for a long time through my 20s. I got very overweight. Was, drinking a lot, doing drugs, all this shit, partying, let myself go. But like when I got back, it's like years and years, and I'm like, why am I not, And then I go to get my blood checked, and it's like, oh, my fucking testosterone is like 200.
Yeah, I feel like that seems like a common thing because that's something my boyfriend also was kind of like dealing with too, and like I know his family, like his dad and brother, so then they also got on testosterone.
Sorry for this cough too. I've been getting over it. Like I had a cold. Like over the weekend, like Friday, and it like left me with this stupid cough. Like,
no, trust me,
I'm not
I understand. No, it's okay. I've been sick for like 2 months.
Yeah, it's just a nasty. Now. It's like a stupid raspy cough.
Yes,
that's why I've drank like probably 80 fucking ounces of water.
Yeah, it's the worst, and you're trying to podcast too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I was gonna like call you and be like, or message you and be like, oh, we might have to reschedule, but I feel so bad.
You could have.
I'm like, well, it doesn't bother me. I just feel like it bothers, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to throw you off, every time I'm coughing over it. I'm sorry. What were you saying? Yeah,
it does get me off my flow, but, we're gonna work with it.
Yeah. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I feel like.
TRT?
No, he's not, but he wants to get on it. Yeah. Because his brother and dad was on it. I don't know how old
he is, but I recommend it if you're in your 30s. So.
And I think they've done their blood work and have their testosterone's low. And he said it makes them, like, it helps so much.
Yeah.
So, but my boyfriend,
I will attest to that.
Yeah, he did. He tried a cycle of steroid. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But after he got off of it because he got blood work done.
Oh, yeah.
And he noticed, like, things were, like, not good. I don't remember what it was, but he got off of it. And then when he got off of it, like, I feel like his hormones were just kind of like messed up a little bit from it.
Yeah.
So
I think if you just go cold turkey off of it, I mean, you definitely, I think they have like hormone blockers and stuff. There's a way, like you take your post, I think that's what they call it. It's like a post cycle. I think that's what they call it. I'm not sure. But yeah. So I don't know. I haven't had any issues so far. I mean, it's been good to me. So I mean, I've been, I can only speak to myself.
Yeah.
But that's good that he checks his blood work for sure. Yeah. I do recommend that.
I think I think if you're on it, definitely check your blood work.
At least once a year. I mean, maybe. Yeah. I mean, depending on how old you are and stuff, there's a bunch of factors that play into it for sure.
Yeah. Check your blood work and just be smart about it.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. So you're competing in there. You did it, what, once, twice?
I did it twice. Mm-hmm. So the first time I did it, I actually like did pretty well. I got like second place overall. Okay. So then we decided there was another show just a month later. Okay. So we're like, let's go ahead and do it. Why not? So I did that show and I actually got first overall and got my pro card in natural bodybuilding. Oh, okay. So I'm like an IPE pro. Nice. But then after that, I just never competed again. I was like, yep, I'm good.
Are you gonna make a comeback?
Actually, I'm kind of thinking about it, but I'm like, ooh, talking about it on a podcast. I'm like, ooh.
Oh yeah, put it on here. That way you hold yourself accountable.
I know. So, I've been missing it. I've definitely been getting the itch. And
what's a camp like for preparing for a show like that?
Prep?
Yeah, like a prep. Yeah, whatever you call it. Yeah. Is that what it's called, a prep?
A prep. Okay. Yeah, so when you're getting ready for a competition, a bodybuilding show, you go on a prep. So a prep can be from 6 weeks to 12 weeks or however long. Yeah. I can't remember how long mine was, to be honest. Wait, I feel like it's way longer than 6 weeks. Anyways, but basically you just you start tracking your food intake, your calorie intake, and each month you kind of start to like slowly go into a deficit. And yeah, just workout intensity goes up. You do more cardio.
And you stick to one workout plan that entire time?
No. Well, at least I'm sure, you know, everyone does it differently. But with how we did it is, I think each month we kind of like switch things up a little bit. And yeah, kind of see what worked. And then as
like what your body takes to.
Yeah. And then as you get further along your prep, your volume tends to go up. So higher reps.
Oh, okay.
And then lighter weight because you're in a caloric deficit.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be as strong.
Yeah.
So, and then that's when a lot of tempo work will come in.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you can't push as much weight. So you do like, you know, longer tempo to make things harder. And that's like how
counting like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And then drop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I love tempo work. So right now I decided to start working with a new coach. I've been working with him for about a month now. His name is Tim, and he's a trainer at OGKC, and he's fantastic. Like the man knows what he's talking about. So I started to work with him because I really wanted more discipline in my life again, and then just more accountability. Like, I felt like, you know, I was happy with how I was doing things. I write my own programs. I know what I like and I know what I'm doing. But I kind of wanted another level up. I wanted to challenge myself again. So, yeah, I started working with him. And I want to just see how it feels and potentially look at competing. Because I kind of like, I feel like I might be ready for that challenge again.
Right.
You know, because it's a big commitment, you know.
I bet. So. Like you're having to track all your macros and calories and all that shit.
Yeah.
Or are you one of those people who kind of just wings it?
So.
Or do you get pretty serious about it? Like weighing your food and all that?
Yeah. So right now I eat intuitively. So I will weigh certain things out. So I like portion things. I kind of have a rough idea because for a long time I tracked my macros. Like when I was competing, I tracked my macros like religiously, and I like got pretty obsessive with it to where like one rice extra I would like take it out. Yeah, I was very serious.
That could be draining, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it because, like, the more you do it, then it's like on MyFitnessPal, the app, it gets pretty easy to plug things in when you're eating.
I know about MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
I fucking signed up for that thing, and I forgot because of Mitch. Mitch, if you're watching this, he was like, "Yeah, get that thing, man. It's free." But they make you sign up with a credit card, like when you download it, and it tells you like. You have like 7 days or something. I don't know how long, 2 weeks or some shit.
Those things always get me.
Oh my God. I was so mad. I was like, dude. And then I see a $79 charge on my card. I'm like, fuck. And I've been too lazy to fucking call.
Yes.
I got to call Apple. I can't even call, or I got to call, Apple, because I did it. You double click it and my shit's saved on my phone.
Yep.
So I contacted MyFitnessPal and they're like, oh no, you got to contact Apple. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, to like get your money back?
Yeah, to get my money back.
Wow.
Because I was like, I didn't want this.
The fact that you're actually like trying to get your money back.
Yeah,
I'm always just like, oops, all right.
No, I'm like, $79?
No, that's
Fuck
true.
That. Like, if it would have been like $10, I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like YouTube Premium I had, it was like $15. I was like, fuck, I didn't want to keep this. And then I'm like, I have $15. But $79?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And did you get your money back?
No. I've been too lazy to call.
Oh, okay. So you haven't done it yet. I'm like, does it actually work? Because I need to do that.
Oh yeah. If you complain enough, and you're like, dude, please, hey, I don't know what happened. My kid fucking hit the button on my phone and it bought it on that. You know, say some shit like that. Just make some shit up.
Yeah, because like with my podcast, so my like the songs that I use for the podcast, I like got it from Epidemic. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, those ones where you can buy them.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'll just do a free trial, get my songs, and stop.
Yeah.
And I forgot to cancel it, so it charged me like $100.
Oh, dude. Yeah, definitely hit them.
Well, I think that's been too long now, so.
It's been like a couple months.
Yeah, now I know that in the future, if that happens again, I could.
Sometimes you just got to take an L, you know? What
yeah.
can you do? That's kind of what I chalked it up to. Because it's been like a couple of months for me as well. So I'm like, and I haven't even used it. I should fucking use it. I have a year of it and I don't use it.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same as you. It's like I don't track it. I just
Especially now.
I know what size I need.
Yeah.
You know?
Right now I'm not like competing or anything, you know. There's like no need to do that. I really just want to like especially for me, after I competed, I really had to work on my relationship with my body and my and food. So it's been a journey for
like
me.
work on it how? Like it was, are you becoming obsessive about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So after I got done competing,
because I bet that happens a lot.
Oh,
in that
it's
field.
very, very common. A
body
lot.
dysmorphia. Yeah.
Yes. So I definitely, was dealing with body dysmorphia. And then after you get done competing, your body just gets inflamed too. And you have to reverse diet. And that part is actually really important.
Is it inflamed because of all the carb? Well, you're in a caloric deficit, so you're not eating much carbs,
Yeah,
are you?
yeah. So it's inflamed just because of what you put your body through. Your body's pretty much been starved.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, so that's why reverse dieting is really important. Slowly reintroducing foods and like slowly adding more calorie instead of just going back to, that's kind of
is that where the weight just suddenly your
body just
shocked.
Starts to hold on to all that
because it's been in shock,
deprived of it, basically. So, and after I got done competing, I stopped working with my coach, which was not a good idea because you want to have a proper reverse diet. So I kind of just did things on my own. And I definitely struggled with binge eating because I was restricting myself so much that
now it's the reward.
Yeah. Then I would eat something and I'm like, oh my God, I would have to keep eating it. And it would happen at night. So I just kind of went through a journey with that. And so I just been working on that and my gut health as well. Because when I was on prep, I would try all these 0-calorie stuff, and that shit is just not good for you. They're very processed. They're just not good for your gut health. So I felt like after I got done competing, I was dealing with a lot of IBS and just getting really bloated.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been on a journey with that, and now I'm really happy with where I'm at. I feel like mentally I'm in a really good place with how I feel about my body and my relationship with food and not binge eating. So that's why now I feel like, okay, I could potentially be ready to compete again. And I'm really curious to see how my mentality is going into prep again and just seeing how I can do it better this time around for myself. And
because you've already been through the swing of things. You kind of know what you felt good on, what you didn't, stuff like that, and kind of tweak that for the next one. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I heard that on your last podcast. You were saying that that you're very happy about your body now. You don't feel like, I don't know if you were referring to that, but kind of you thought maybe that the physique that you had during competition was going to be the goal that you always wanted your body to be, maybe. But then now that your body is back to just quote unquote normal state, you didn't think that maybe you were going to love your body again. Is that kind of how you felt?
I think I just have always been hard on myself, when it comes to my body. And that's also, I feel like, how I was raised too. Because growing up,
everybody, I feel like it's hard.
Yeah.
Because the expectation is to be like the Instagram models, you know? And it's you look at the pictures and it's they're great. But a lot is angle, a lot is diet. A lot of them dry themselves out literally for that photo shoot. You know, they're not going to look like that in a couple of days.
Oh yeah, so, social media definitely plays a big part in that.
Or even you when you competed, that's not sustainable to keep for the rest of your life. That's a one-time thing for that time period. Yeah. During training and then that day of the show. But after that, not saying your body's just going to go back, oh, it's not looking good. No, it's going to look good because you've done all this work. Right. It's just not going to be that, that's not sustainable.
Yes. And that definitely was something that I had to wrap my head around after I was done. Like you said, it's not sustainable, but it's there's just a part of you that wishes. You're like, oh my gosh, I could totally maintain this, Yeah. But yeah, it's not sustainable. But yeah, I was saying that, I feel like I've always kind of been hard on myself when it comes to my body, because growing up, parents, people make comments about your body and stuff. So I feel like I've always just been that way with my body. I remember being a kid sitting on the toilet and looking at my thighs and telling my aunt, like, why are my thighs so big? You know, and it's crazy that as a kid, you're already thinking about stuff like that.
I know. What do you think that was? I mean, just TV or maybe comments made. I know sometimes, like, when you're kids, family members might say comments. Like, if you're the skinny person, you know, they'll call you chicken legs or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, give you nicknames. Or if you're bigger, you know, they'll call you whatever, you know. So sometimes that can stick.
I think it's definitely a mix of things. I think family members, like, will make comments. And even just, I feel like
magazines,
shows, magazines, TV. Like, I feel like our generation, when we grew up, like, it was very much like body focus and all of that. Yeah. And I feel like now I feel like it's getting better.
And the bodies weren't even like what they are now. Now it's like, holy shit. How are you getting that? Like, you walk through OGKC and it's like, damn, everybody's hot in here, dude. Like, what the... Like, are the dudes, the girls, like, how, you know, like, it's a lot of pressure for people to try to obtain that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's not like the normal, what we were growing up in 2000s, like, nobody was built like they are now. Like, it's wild. It's good, but then it can also be very, if you don't educate yourself on it, it can be depressing, you know, because if you don't understand, like, you can't have that all the time, then you're going to think it's like unattainable. Yeah. But you can have, like, just look at the normal people in the gym that aren't competing at that moment, or look at the guys that are done competing and they're off camp. Like, they still look great, and you can have that. You just got to put in the work. So, but I mean, that's great. And I'm glad it's definitely benefited you. You know, it seems like it's really helped you in your life.
Yeah, no, I would say, like, when I competed, it, like, really helped with my confidence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, my confidence level, like, just went up.
Look
because
good, feel good.
Yeah, and I, like, proved to myself that I could do something that was hard. Like, I, you know, stayed dedicated and focused, and I feel like growing up I never saw myself as someone who was, like, who won things, who, like, wins at things. And I just remember getting my pro card and winning first overall that day. And just like, wow, like, I did that, you know?
Oh, and it's a nice achievement.
Yeah, so it was, like, really cool to see myself in that light. Like, I can do hard things, and I'm a winner.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, I've never thought about doing any type of bodybuilding stuff, but I've seen, like I said, the guys that do it, and, you know, the chicks on there. It's like, damn, dude, you guys put yourself through a lot. It's kind of wild, you know. I don't even know if I could do that.
I always say we're a little, like bodybuilders are a little psychotic, I think.
A little bit. I think in any hobby, you got to be a little, like, well, not at every hobby, but stuff like that.
I think,
like,
a good obsession, you know?
Yeah, like, physical hobbies like that, like, you got to be a little off. Just a little bit.
Like, you've gone through some shit in your life.
Yeah, you've gone through some shit in your life to push you. I hate to break right now, but I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
Yeah,
so let's
no,
break.
I will.
So,
no, it's been fun.
All right, so we're back.
Okay.
We were just getting off on, we're just getting off the subject of your fitness, you know, journey.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. I think it's really cool to hear, you know, especially because I don't know too much about that world other than basic workouts, you know, in my gym. But it's really neat. Getting into the podcast more too, you know, just kind of some subjects that you talk about. Relationships is one, I believe, that you talk about, you know, a lot from what I've heard. And it's something that everybody, like, deals with, mostly everybody. And a lot of people, like, it's not all beaver cleaver, white picket fence, you know. It may seem like that on Instagram and Facebook, but we go through shit. Like, what are some of the things that, like, you're trying to help with that? Is it just giving your own advice and things you've gone through and things that have helped and things that didn't help and stuff like that? Is that what you're trying to do for the people who are listening?
When it comes to relationships? Can you word that again?
No, like, are you? No, it's fine. It's like,
okay.
Like, what are you trying to do for your listeners? Like, when you speak about it, like, are you trying to give them advice? Are you just trying to?
Yeah.
Are you just kind of like doing a video journal for them? Like, what do you like? like of your own, like what's your objective on that? Because
Yeah,
relationships
okay.
is an important thing,
Right.
you know, and
Yeah.
I know you're just targeting more the woman, like the female side of it, but you know, like a lot of the things that you guys go through, I mean, I've heard you talk about in your podcast, you know, and you want to help in a way, right?
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like you're immediately giving like advice, like you are, but you're also like, this is what I went through. So you're very open, which I think is very cool, very real.
Yeah, because I believe in like vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I feel like that is definitely like a core value of mine. And with my podcast too, is being vulnerable and sharing my stories. And I guess for me, to answer your question, I feel like I'm trying to, like, I want to show people ways they can love themselves. And like self-love is a huge thing for me because it's something I've really worked on with myself. And I feel like when you learn to love yourself, and I feel like that's when you can really create these meaningful relationships with other people.
Right.
Once you start loving yourself and becoming like authentically who you are, then you can start to attract people who are like you. Yeah,
because if you don't love yourself, you're going to seek love from the person that you're with.
Yeah.
And if they're gone one day,
right,
you know. So yeah, I totally agree. I think you should be able to find self-love. Once you find self-love, then be able to share that with the person who has that as well. Sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes we figure that out in the middle, but at least you're changing, you know what I mean? Like at least you're making those changes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing I think is like learning to love being by yourself.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, not making that other person your world, you know. Yes, it's okay. In a sense, it's okay to make them your world. In the sense, you can have them be your everything. But, you know, I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but there's always the possibility that they could leave. You know, we're not tied to each other, you know, and people change and, you know, things happen. Right. And you need to be better prepared for that if it does. Yeah. And even if it doesn't, you still should have that self-love, you know, because they're not going to be around all the time. You know, they're at work or they're out, you know, they want to be out with their, you know, go out and hang out with a friend or, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, you're going to have to be by yourself and you're going to have to learn to love being okay with that.
And I feel like I talk about this on my podcast a lot, is that like relationships, they teach us so much. Like each relationship, I feel like our partners, they're mirroring something back to us and showing us something. And each time that I'm getting triggered by my partner, I look at those triggers. Okay, why am I upset at him for that? And then it's never about your partner. It's usually always comes back to yourself, like what you're feeling about yourself, but you're kind of channeling that or projecting that onto your partner. So I feel like relationships just teach us so much. Right. And I feel like people are placed in our life for a reason.
Right. Yeah. And the point is to notice that and change. A lot don't. It'll be 20 years down the line. Yeah. And then you're wondering why you're getting a divorce. It's
right.
Like, well, because you didn't really make the effort. I feel like we make more of an effort to invest in TV shows or sports or other things in our own relationship. And that's not me sitting here acting like I'm a saint. I'm just as guilty of it as well.
Right.
But it's just something I notice. It's like, it's like as if it's not like you already have that person, so it's not a priority anymore. You know, and you become more of roommates almost. If you don't,
and that's what happened with my boyfriend and I the first time around when we dated. Like we really just became roommates and friends, you know. And it wasn't healthy the first time around because we didn't take the time to like work on those things. And you know, we were both young and I really didn't understand really what loving yourself truly was. And I like depended a lot of my happiness on him and was like very codependent on him, to where when we ended things, like when we first ended things, I thought that it was all his fault. I was like, oh, like the reason why I'm breaking up with him is because he never loved me enough, or he like didn't do all these things for me. But then when we broke up, like I realized that I didn't even love myself, you know? And when
how could you love somebody else?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And when you don't love yourself, you can't receive that love from someone. Like you are actually unable to receive that because you can't even feel that yourself.
Right.
So I really had to learn.
I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like I couldn't feel that from other people.
If you can't receive it from the person you trust the most, which is yourself, how do you plan to receive it from a person that, yeah, you trust and love them, but you can't even get it from yourself. So you expected to get it from him or her.
Yeah. So I really saw a lot of love like externally because I didn't know how to give that to myself. I didn't even know what that felt like. So that's something I like when I was single really worked on. And another thing I want to bring up too is that I feel like another point I can make is that we can spend a lot of time working on our relationship with other people, but a lot of people forget about working on the relationship with yourself.
Right.
And that's like where it all starts from.
Yeah. Do you think though breaks like that kind of hurt though the relationship, or do you think they could thrive afterwards? Depending probably on the individual.
Yeah, I think depending on the individual, and in my case, it helped us a lot, you know. And after we ended things, I didn't think we were gonna get back together. Like I thought we were done, you know, but we both kind of went on our own path. I really started healing, working on myself. That's when I was like, realized how much work I needed to do on myself, and really went down this like rabbit hole. And I remember when I first started this journey, I would Google a bunch of things and I started to learn about self-esteem. Like I knew that was something I always lacked. I had no self-esteem, learning about what self-worth is and learning about all those little concepts and what they are and ways you can build that. And I would like stay up till 3 just writing notes. And it's funny because that's really what I do in my podcast now. Like each topic, I'll write down notes, and it almost feels like I'm doing the same thing that I used to do when I first started my journey. But now I'm like doing it in a different way and helping other people with it. But it's also helping me as I'm doing it because I'm like always learning new stuff.
And that's good that it worked out for yours. I just could see the other side where it wouldn't, because I mean, you're not with that person. You're wondering what happened during those years. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It becomes very insecure for the man or the woman getting back together. Then you're together, you're asking questions, stuff like that, you know, and then you feel like you've really got to be kind of mentally strong in order to put aside the past and say, hey, that was her life or that was his life at that time. I wasn't involved. We're starting new, you know, which can be very hard. You know. Yeah.
And I definitely I feel like we've dealt with that, you know, when I would hear about what he did when he was single, you know, I'd be like, okay.
I wouldn't want to hear. I'd be like, don't tell me.
I know. I think I actually asked him. He was like, are you sure?
Oh, man. Yeah. We always want to know, don't we?
I know. And then I was like, yes. And afterwards, I'm like upset. But then obviously I got over it.
Yeah. Some things are best not known. That's what I've always kind of, because I'm the same way. Like I want to know everything. And it's like, I've worked on that a lot over the years, and it's like, Gabriel, you don't need to know everything about life. Just live your own and, you know, chill out, you know what I mean? And take what's in front of you. That's all you can do. Yeah. And also too, do you think it could have been worked out just staying together?
Yeah, it could have been, but I feel like it probably would have taken us a little bit longer. And I just felt like the way we were, we just weren't healthy. I know I can't see.
Break it apart before it gets super bad.
Wait, what?
Break it apart, apart from each other before it gets super bad.
Yeah. I feel like if we would have stayed together, we would have been unhappy.
That's what I'm saying. Break this up before it gets super, super bad. Yes. You know what I mean? Let's stop. Let's go our own ways. Let's do our thing for a while. We both have some growing up to do. Yeah. Then we can come back and we can figure this out.
And it wasn't an easy decision for me too, because you have to think I moved from Taiwan to here with him. I didn't have I cut off my family. So he was like my only like family or an only person that I like depended on.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So we like lived together. We like, I mean, we both had our own like finances, but we like lived together. I depended on him for a lot of things. And I actually didn't even get my driver's license until I was 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like before that, when we were like doing that, like for a couple years when I moved back here from Taiwan, and like I lived with him in his mom's basement.
No, really?
Yeah, so we lived in his mom's basement. I got a job at Forever 21 and then got another serving job.
It's like every man's dream.
So we were like, I was working 2 jobs just trying to save up money, and he had to drive me around everywhere. Like this man did everything for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, so definitely it's been a journey. But yeah, so when I was thinking about like, oh, I feel like things are not working out, like I'm not happy, I'm wanting to end things.
Sorry, yeah. There's a dog upstairs.
Yeah.
It can be a little distracting.
So it was like not an easy decision because I was scared. I was like, am I gonna be okay without him? Like I didn't know a life like outside of him. He was literally my everything. Like I felt like I was, Chris's girlfriend a lot. And I was scared like to make that jump. But at the time I had some close girlfriends in my life, and they like really helped me with that. I remember like getting my own place for the first time, doing all that stuff, and really just like being on my own for the first time. So
being able to live by yourself.
Yeah. And I feel like I needed that because like just that part just taught me so much. And I like really grew through that period and found myself and like went on this like self-discovery path. Yeah.
No, that's neat. Yeah. Relationships are hard. I mean, you can't say it should be done this way and that's the only way. I mean, it just depends on the person. Depends on the individuals, you know, and you kind of got to, like, I could sit here and be like, well, I don't agree with this, and this because that's what I think. But who am I to say? Because I don't know. I don't live your life. I don't live in your shoes.
Yeah, some people need to date around a bunch. You know?
I don't know. I don't know your guys' situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's definitely good. I mean, to find somebody. I don't know about dating around a bunch. But is that what
about what?
Would you say date around a bunch?
I feel like some people, they gotta go through.
Some people do. I don't know if that's necessarily the healthiest thing. But hey, man, it's teach your own. Go live your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, But yeah, I mean, it's just, it varies, man. It's just whoever the person is, like, trial and error.
Yeah.
That's all you can do,
We're all on our
They
own
write
journey.
a lot of books about it, but, not everyone's made the same. So kind of do whatever feels right for you and makes you happy.
Yeah,
But,
I feel like we definitely, like, have had a unique path. But, yeah, it's been cool.
Hey, as long as it's working now, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, hopefully with the relationship thing, I hope a lot of people take good advice from you, things that you've had to learn, things that advice you could give that has helped you. That'd be really neat because I know a lot of people need that, right now. And I think one advice I would give is like, be careful who you talk to. A lot of times we try to go to our friends, and that's not always the best places, depending on who your friends are.
Yeah.
I'd more rather try to look at, how is their life? Do they have a successful relationship? Are they the type to give me good advice and, like something that actually I can see working for them? Or are they just spitting out something they heard or something they think, and their situation?
I completely agree with
that.
that.
Great,
I've talked about that, I think, in one episode, just like, yes, it's fine to ask, people around you for advice and stuff like that. But like, just make sure that you like whatever you're asking them, you like what they're.
Yeah. Sit back and watch them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
observe.
Does it align with what you're wanting? You know? So definitely, like, that's something that's really important for sure. And I also feel like another thing too is like, I feel like we know so much more than we give ourselves credit for. Like the answer is within us,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we just need to like get rid of the noise and just like meditate, really ground yourself, and I feel like the answer will come to you. Like a lot of times my friends would come to me with advice, like asking me for advice, and I'll help them through it. But a lot of times my advice is like, I feel like you know what to do. I was like,
you're just
like
not doing it.
Yeah, like I just, I try and help them through it, but at the end of the day, I'm always like, it's your decision, your life. Like, take some time, think about it, like really ground yourself.
That is true, because a lot of the times we know the answer. Like, we know what we're supposed to be doing, and we're not doing it.
Yeah, and sometimes you just want to ask other people to kind of reassure you or reaffirm what you're thinking too.
But then sometimes we get stuck in that repetitive cycle of continuing to ask and continuing. Like, I know people, it's like the same shit every week. And I'm not coming at like I'm a saint. Like, I have my own issues. But like, I know even a certain individual I can think on my mind that I hear stuff from. It's like, you always say you're going to change. And I see your fucking Facebook posts and I see your Instagram posts and all this shit of like, I'm going to change and I'm going to do this and I'm whatever. And you've talked to me and you've called and I've given you advice and you've talked to other people and you still fail to implement it in your life. And you're not getting any younger. I mean, some of these people I know are in their 40s, and it's like, if you don't change now, you're going to keep pursuing this imaginary, I don't even know, life that you think that you're going to have. Yeah. And you're not going to have it unless you put in the work. You're just going to keep chasing it.
Yeah. A lot of people just hold themselves back from that. Because I can definitely think of people in my life who are like that. And I feel like now, like the circle of people I have around me, none of them are like that. But I've definitely have friends like that. And it's like frustrating because it's the same thing over and over again. And it's like, they know what to do, right. But it's like, I don't
We've been there, right? I'm sure you've been there where you're like, I know what I need to fucking do.
It's just, maybe they're just not ready for that yet.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Like some people, like I said, they just take it, it just goes, and it's sad. It really is. It's sad to see, and I see it a lot. I'm not going to say that people that are healthy and like take care of themselves are not dealing with shit too. There are, trust me. But I feel like more people who don't take care of their life in a healthy way tend to fall for more like just bad negative things in their life.
Yes, I agree. I feel that's why I'm so like passionate about like health and fitness. Yeah. Because I feel like that is literally
and I explained to her, like I still think that in the health and fitness world, there's still people, like even including myself, I feel like I'm a part of that world. Yeah. I deal with shit too. Oh, so it's not like we're not subject to it, but I feel like it's I feel like
it's a solid foundation though. Like I feel like any person should know how to eat healthy and know to move your body and to, like just do hard things, because when you're lifting weights, you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself. And I feel like as a human, like that's back in the day, like you're doing hard things, right? Yeah. Yeah. And now like, I feel like life is like so convenient and you kind of like lost that. Yeah.
And then you kind of lose that way to exert energy.
Even like weight loss pills. Like I feel like there's been a lot of stuff about like
that. The Ozempic and all that shit.
I was actually asking my boyfriend, I'm like, how do you feel about that?
What is that Ozempic stuff? Do you know? Like a lot of people doing that?
I feel like that's really
like on the female side, are a lot of people doing that?
I don't know, but I know someone like in my life who is on like one, but I just feel like it's been like a common thing. And for me, I feel like yes, like if you've tried, like, yes, I understand that can be a solution, but I also feel like a lot of people, instead of like putting in the work,
they want the fast route.
Yes, they just want, like, I'll just do that, then it's like you're depending on all these external things to help you feel better.
And then what happens when like all of it, like you could revert back so easily because you haven't instilled in the hard work of working out and dieting and all that stuff. You've been relying on this drug the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. God. Get it out.
I know. What is wrong with me today? Shit. God, I think I got it out. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, so I don't know. It's just, Yeah, the easy route is always the convenient route, right? I mean, we're humans, you know, even animals, like they seek the easier path, you know, path of less resistance. And so I guess in our nature, but we need to stop because it's not good.
Yeah. And I feel like I've kind of wired myself to like look for ways to challenge myself and do the hard things so I can, just because I know when I do that, I grow as a person.
Right.
So I feel like I've taught myself to do that.
Right. Yeah. Was that difficult though?
I mean, yeah, it's always going to be difficult, you know, like with photography.
But luckily you had a good base though. Like you said, you've been doing it since you're pretty young, which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially because we're not too far apart in age.
Yeah.
Back then, I don't remember health and fitness being a very big thing. Do you? Like nowadays, I see like like I see all these young kids and they're like, you know, in the gym, and it's like,
I know. Yeah.
You're 18, you know, like I was like partying at 18, you know, like that's all we thought about. It was like music, partying, girls, like, or, you know.
I know people who are so much younger who are already like doing all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, like that's great. I wish I would have started a lot of stuff that young too, you know, but we're all on our own path. So
we are. So it was great having you on. I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that you wanted to cover before we wrap this up?
No.
Podcast is the self-love model.
Yes.
I got it wrong last time.
Yeah, how dare you?
Correcting myself.
Yes, podcast is called the Self-Love Model, and you can listen to it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And I do my episodes like bi-weekly.
You can listen to her without all the coughing on her episodes. So
yeah.
That's cool. So it's on Spotify
and Apple Podcasts.
Yes. Yeah. Are we making a YouTube appearance soon?
Hopefully. Yeah, one thing at a time. But yes, that is the goal eventually, is to be on YouTube and to do more video podcasting. So hopefully I can figure my shit out and get that rolling.
Hey, just keep doing it, you know, and you're going to evolve like we said earlier, you're going to be very self-critical about it in the beginning. I still am to this day, but it gets better and better and better. You start to be like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to throw it out there. Whoever likes me for me will listen. You know? Yeah. That's kind of what you got to do. And then just grow to it, you know, like make little adjustments here and there that hopefully stick. And you know, that's all you can do. You know, make sure it's still fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that matters.
No, that's definitely like the most important thing at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hopefully seeing you at this event we're planning.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. And but thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you so much.